So we've got this story from Clean Tech saying it happened. And this really bugs me. It's saying it happened, and they've cut and paste Jim Farley here, Ford's CEO. So it really looks convincing. Ford reveals all new $15,000 pickup truck, and shocks the entire industry. I wasted 9 minutes, just above 8 minutes of my life that I'd like to get a refund. I'd like to full Karen, ask to speak to the manager, and yell and scream until I get my 8-minute refund. But that was 8 minutes of my life wasted, because this is complete BS and I'm going to bust it. There are no rumors at Ford right now that the Ford Maverick is going to have a competitor. If anything were to happen, I'd say it'd be more likely that we'd see, the Bronco Sport or the Escape get cut so that there can be more high-end models. And I'm not saying that that's anything that is going to happen, but Mitchell Watts, Town and Country, mentioned that that was maybe in the rumor mill from what I could understand from his video, but that rumor mill hasn't hit me yet, so I can't even say that this is internal rumors going on at Ford, because I haven't heard it at all. Rev Nation, I'll take the hat off just for you, but this is the pool here. It's pretty hot here, so I had to jump in the pool before this video. But a $15K Maverick competitor, there is absolutely zero internal rumors of this at Ford, and I highly doubt at this point that Ford would be using up a factory to build a Maverick competitor. Opening up a second factory or dedicating one entire factory to the Ford Maverick, now that could happen. And I don't think it'd be that bad of an idea, because so many of us want our Ford Mavericks. Now, we'll be talking more about Maverick production numbers. We're going to be talking more about Maverick percentages, what to have on your build, what not to have on your build in a little bit. Just got to get through what has been really bothering me, and it really makes me say that some channels are, it's almost like economic terrorism, and I think those two terms go well together. I know it makes you laugh and you think I'm a little wild in my thought process here.
No, that's fine.
But I'm going to explain myself. So if let's say someone causes harm to 10 people, 50 people, 100 people, creates a lot of fear, they're a terrorist. Someone that creates fear for, is a terrorist. Now, what about when you create fear for profit for yourself while potentially destroying the economy? I think that makes you an economic terrorist. So I'll give you some examples of this. You talk about a 15K truck coming to market. What does this do? It has people not order up a Ford Maverick or a Honda Ridgeline or a Toyota Tacoma or a Ford Ranger. I'm gonna wait. And it's okay to wait on buying an actual vehicle that will exist under factual pretenses. That's fine. Save your money for later. I'm totally okay with that. I'm not saying that telling people to save their money for later is economic terrorism. What I'm saying is sort of economic terrorism is when you BS to get money for yourself and there's no basis of truth in it. Now, this video, I watched through it. They're just constantly showing pictures of a Ford Maverick, a Ford Ranger, and they're constantly saying Ford Maverick over and over to try to really get those tags and get views, because if you say Ford Maverick, when Ford Maverick is really popular, well, you're going to get more Ford Maverick views and Ford Maverick dollars. So there's an example. That's sort of what the video sounded like, but for 8 minutes. I did it for 15 seconds. I hope you're slightly annoyed with how many times I said Ford Maverick. So all new $15,000 small truck. So these are keywords that kind of make the YouTube overlords, the whole computing system, the algorithm to sort of push out your stuff. And of course, even if you really tick people off by BSing, people disliking and hitting the thumbs down and leaving comments like, you're a dumbass. Well, you know what? YouTube still likes that because it's creating conversation and the video gets out. It makes
didn't
money.
read the comment that much. It just said, okay, we have a lot of comments, so that's a good video. But you know what? At the same time, when we look at the picture, it's impossible that car could be $15,000 because just the tires on it
and mags.
2,000 and more, and it looks bigger than the Maverick, and the grill is almost the Raptor grill. So it's not that car. It's impossible.
I love it that you're talking cars tonight. You're not just. I appreciate it. Marie's usually here. She's like, she tells me she doesn't like her accent, so she's just here to take notes and, write down people's questions and bring them back to me, and she's shy. So I'm really happy that you're coming out of your bubble and you're saying it as it is. Those tires and mags
when I know
are
the
almost
word,
$15,000. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I hope you all out here are loving it too. Okay, so let's continue. Now, there's deliberate BS for dollars, and I'm just going to continue on the idea of how bad this can be for the economy, because sometimes there's non-deliberate occurrences of this. So, Toyota, actually, there is a small chance Toyota comes out with a Maverick competitor. It's not going to be anywhere near $15,000. I know we're all, money isn't easy to make. And there's not a whole lot of it going around when, you're working the 9 to 5. Vehicles are getting priced out, slowly getting priced out. Less and less of the population can afford a new vehicle. The lower, if we were to divide society into 3 classes, lower, middle, upper, and then let's just not put the less than 1% of our North American population into this, the billionaires. Let's just pretend like we'll call them the ultra rich. So they're not in the upper class, but if you're to divide the economy into 3 classes, forgetting the super rich, really what's troublesome is that there's no new vehicles for the lower class anymore. And whether this is planned or not, we might be moving into, you look at vehicles just recording all sorts of data so that they can become autonomous. Well, my worry is, and this is only 30 seconds, I'll say this, my worry is that we are moving towards a planned future where car ownership is almost non-existent, that it's all about ride sharing. You pay your monthly subscription fee to get driven around, the vehicles drive themselves, and that car ownership is going to be reserved for the ultra rich, not even the upper class. And I worry that, that is only 20 years away. And because right now, in a short 2 to 3 year period, and most of this was only done within the last year and a half, there aren't new vehicles for the lower class. You can't have a minimum wage job and have a new vehicle. Those 2 things don't exist anymore. You can't have even jobs that are in the lower 10% percentile. If you're in the lower 10 percentile and have one job and work 40 hours a week, you cannot afford a new vehicle. That really bothers me. So I am worried that we're moving towards a future where everything's unaffordable and we rent everything. And I think part of that, there's some people that'd be very happy if that is the plan. But I went over my 30 seconds, so we'll get back to the show. Toyota, now there's a high up at Toyota said that they are looking and they are considering a small truck, something smaller than a Tacoma, which is a mid-sized truck. So once a high up, a CEO, a vice president of a company, whether it's automobile or not, once they confirm the possibility of something, well, then you definitely know that you've got a chance. So let's talk about what that chance would be. The chance would be, if it does happen, he even said it wouldn't be anything in the short term. So this would mean probably 2025, 2026. And under, some people will say, you know what? I'll wait on buying a Maverick or a Honda Ridgeline. I'll wait on stimulating the economy because there's this video here that has me believing that I'll have a $22,000 Toyota small truck or a $15,000 Ford truck real soon. Well, the economy kind of freezes. If enough people buy into this and believe it, money doesn't move. And what's wild is if you think about it, just at Ford, how many hundreds of thousands of jobs are provided just by Ford and the factories? Just look at US dealerships, 3,000 US dealerships. If you're to put an average of 100 employees at those dealerships per dealership, you'd be at 300,000. Now it's a little less than 300,000 dealership employees, but that's just dealerships. That's not Ford factories. And that's not all the, because Ford assembles vehicles, all the parts, they're coming from factories that create jobs as well. So Ford must be, if you're looking at dealerships, Canada and the US, just in dealerships being at roughly 300,000 jobs, and you add in all the factories for that where Ford assembles vehicles and all the factories that are creating parts for Ford, Ford's providing what, a million jobs? That's why I call it economic terrorism. Because when you have, and sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's not. This is deliberate. This is just someone knowing that they're definitely putting out information saying the newest $22,000 Toyota small truck will make Ford Maverick obsolete. That's just selling your soul for a few dollars, because that's completely unbelievably wrong. You can't say that Toyota has, the newest 22K Toyota small truck when it hasn't been announced. Toyota officially said, we're thinking about it, maybe, and not in the short, it won't happen in the short term if it happens. So let's check out some other instances. Something that might actually happen. Kia did confirm 2 trucks. So there might be a small and a medium-sized Kia truck. We talked about that in the was that last week's live? Remind me. Was that last week's live that we talked about the Kia small truck?
Yes, last week, I guess, if I remember well.
So right there, if you're, just to back up what I'm saying, right here, quote directly from Toyota, one of the spaces we're looking at that won't be short term is where the compact truck is going. You have Santa Cruz and Maverick on the market, and it will be interesting to see Scout. So Toyota Scout could be the name of this small truck if it happens. So back to the quote, today we have the market really well covered with Tacoma, but that could be a possibility and something we continue to look at. So confirmed by Toyota that they're considering it. So not actually happening, folks. So if you sit around waiting for a Toyota because of these videos, well, your dollars just aren't stimulating people who currently are putting a lot of work into bringing us Tacomas, Ford Rangers, Ford Mavericks, Ford Broncos. Hundreds, the automobile industry in Canada and the US are producing hundreds of thousands of jobs, if not, low 1 point something million. So I don't have the exact number of jobs because it's hard because of all the side jobs. You'll have some companies that will build parts for Ford or build parts for Toyota and, 1 or 2 non-automobile related companies. So how do you count those jobs into the job creation? But we can easily say we're either very near a million or a little over a million jobs that, work in and around the automobile industry. So where can these things sometimes, accidentally be, how can you be an accidental economic terrorist? Well, when you really want views and you want dollars. So I'll give you a small example here. Small example here, Ford can't sell trucks. They're in big trouble, not making any Mavericks. So just zoom in on the title here. That's incorrect. Ford can sell trucks and Ford is making Mavericks. And this actually segues really well into talking about our whole fire and recalls and whatnot, because we'll get to that. But Ford is absolutely making trucks. We talked about it in the last few lives. So Ford, I'll just take the notes out here because I was going to talk recalls first, but things happen. So In the month of May, Ford new vehicle sales rose 23% from a year before. Mind you, the year before, production was way down. Why does Ford have so many Ford trucks, F-150s in the yard? Well, I can answer that with data, facts, and hands-on experience. A year ago, Ford had trouble making F-150s. Production was down. Now, that's not the case. Production is going very well with F-150, and they have 2 factories, and they're huge factories, and they've been making F-150s for many decades. So when they get the parts to assemble these vehicles, what happens? Things move pretty darn quickly.